Okay, now you're being recorded, but yeah. So
Okay.
let's get this show on the road. Um,
Okay. I'm very interested on whatever you have to show me. Once
um,
again, thank you very much for supporting this. It's appreciated.
eh, no problem. So anyway, I am the matchup I'm going to be pitching today is Yu Narukami from Persona 4 versus Omori from Omori. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I know you've included both these games in your countdowns before, but I don't know how familiar you are with both characters of the game. So would you like a brief introduction to the characters, or can we just skip ahead?
I would like an introduction. The both franchises are more several writers know more about them than I do.
Okay. Uh, first up is Yu Narukami. He's the main protagonist of Persona 4. So his story is that he was originally like just an average Japanese city kid, but like his parents had to go on a business trip for a year, so he had to move to the small town of Inaba, like with his uncle for a while. But like when he moved, like he was called to the Velvet Room by Igor and his attendant Margaret, like basically warning him that there's going to be a big mystery he needs to solve, and like he'll have and it's his destiny to like solve it and stuff. So later on, he finds this alternate world called the Midnight Channel, which is basically a TV world where and he finds out that there's a murderer going around and using it to like kill people, and when it's foggy
Mhm.
out. And so he investigates it. He awakens his persona. I assume you know what persona is. And
Yes.
yeah, and then when he and so once he realizes he can like enter this world and like fight off shadows and save people and stuff, he then goes around. He then starts the investigation team, which he so like he can like figure out the killer and save the town. And so
Hmm.
yeah, okay. And Omori is the titular character of Omori. He's actually the alter ego of a kid named Sunny. Basically, he he's been living in this like dream world, like called
Mhm.
White Space, and the occasionally visits Headspace, which is which is like Sunny's dream world that he created with idealized versions of his
Mhm.
friends. And the reason he did it, we find out at the end of the game, is because he accidentally killed his sister Mari, and his friend Basil suggested they frame it as a suicide, like because like Basil was scared Sunny would get arrested, and like that kind of shattered their friend group, and like Sunny like locked himself away in his house for 4 years and just spent all his times in his dreams. And Amoy was created as a sort of alter ego, like for Sunny to like suppress his memories, and the game is all about like Sunny trying to remember like what happened, and like this eventually like puts Amori at odds with him, and that's what creates the conflict in the game. Okay, um, so the order of the considerations for matchups like this, we're going to talk about them is first we're going to talk about the franchise novelty, like why these two franchises are being put together. Uh, then the
Mhm.
viewer enticement, basically basically whether or not people would actually be interested in this, and then the basic connections as to why why these two are being put together specifically, and four is ease of research, just how easy or hard is it going to be to research this fight. And then
Mhm.
we're going to talk about how close it is and debatable it is. We're going to talk about how hard this is going to be to animate, and then we'll talk about the
Mhm.
potential like you have for a fight, and then we'll talk about the story potential.
Okay. Wonderful.
All right, so first let's talk about why Persona and Amore are being put together, since you don't really see this like franchise combination in very many like versus circles. Typically with Persona, you get like JoJo. They get pit with JoJo's against JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and use opponent is Josuke from Diamond is Unbreakable Part 4. And like use one of those characters that has a lot of other matchups too. And Amori, his most popular matchups are Room from the YouTube channel Boyasvert. like and the batter from off,
Hmm.
and but you can also put him up against a lot of other like Earthbound like indie RPGs too, like Brisk, Matsuki, or
Hmm.
Chris, and those are great matchups. But like though Persona and Omori aren't really paired up together much in like versus, like there actually are a lot of people who do pair the two ser- two game series together, and it actually and there actually is synergy between the two franchises. Like for one, both deal
Hmm.
heavily with the human psyche, Amori because it's like exploring depression, grief, and dreams and
Hmm.
stuff, and like Persona because it's heavily based on Jungian psychology, like it's influenced by concepts like the collective unconscious, and like all the and like it takes and like the other world you always travel to is called the Sea of Souls, also known as the collective unconscious, where basically like it's shaped by the humanities humanities like thoughts and cognitions, and that works well for crossing over with Amori because it means like that places like Headspace and Sunny's Dreams could realistically spawn in every like basically main area in each Persona game, since it's all like based on like human cognition and like warped by humans' thoughts and all that.
Hmm.
Not only that, but
Hmm.
the shadows, like with the shadow self, the concept within the persona is very similar to the concept of a mori. Like the concept of a shadow is basically it's the part of you like you're suppressing. It's kind of like an other self, like that you don't like, and like because you're trying to reject it,
Hmm.
like it's kind of causing you problems, and in Persona 4 especially, like the characters have to learn to like accept their shadows, like accept that part of them, and like that's how they gain their personas, and is the driving force of the character development. And it's like very similar to like Amori, where like he's kind of like a split personality, but also he's kind of not. Like he's more so like another part of Sunny, like that he's like using to repress something, like that being they killed his sister, and like basically the final boss of the main route of the game, Amori, is basically a shadow fight from Persona 4. So yeah, basically like there actually is a lot of like synergy like between Amori and Persona, and although it's like not a common thing in verses, like the franchise combination is like one of those combinations where you don't think of it before, but when you see it, you go, huh, that actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. So like there's kind of a bit of novelty to that. So yeah.
All right.
All right. So now to the question on if people will be interested. Now, like, now, like the fact that it's you from Persona should be enough to, on its own, to get a lot of people interested, since Persona is like a very popular series.
Hmm.
Like, it's sold tens of millions of units like worldwide, the entire series. And Persona 4 was hit with critical like acclaim upon its release. It's widely considered one of the greatest video games of all
Oh yeah.
time. Like many people like who played it like remember it very fondly. And
Oh yeah. Yeah,
so
I
yeah, I
remember.
think
I remember. Yeah, I remember Persona 4 just kind of made the franchise just like explode in popularity.
yeah. So I think you being there enough will already be enough to get people interested. And and plus we got Persona 4 Revival, which is coming out eventually, so that should get people like talking about Persona 4 again in a few years. So
Hmm.
yeah. As for Omori, like it's not nearly as popular as Persona, but still like sold over 1 million copies. It has very positive reviews on Steam, and like it's a very well
Hmm.
regarded game, like with a with a decently sized fan base, and it even inspired a small modding scene too, which I've been interested in. And like Amoy might be
Hmm.
more popular than like the sources of his two most popular opponents, like Room from Boyesvert, like since Boyesvert is like a six like figure channel, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's
Hmm.
just like I think Amori might be a bit more popular than Boyesvert, and
Hmm.
also Off is also like a cult is like more cult classic like RPG maker game from like many years ago. Like I love the game, and I actually played the remaster of Off that came out recently. It's really
Hmm.
good, and So, well, Omori versus Room and Omori versus the Bat are like are two great matchups. Like if you're looking at like viewer enticement and if that's like your biggest thing, like Persona is easily the most popular series here, so yeah, that would probably be the best to like get most people to click on it, like you know.
Hmm.
All right. But now you now to address why you specifically, like, since like why are we putting Omori up against you instead of like any of the other Persona Pro tags? Well, the other Persona Pro tags could work. Like you specifically works the best for a few reasons. One was like the setting, like since Persona 4 like took place in a more small town esque setting, that as opposed to like the more artificial city of Persona 3 or like the expansive stuff of Persona 5. And like that whole small town aesthetic, like and vibe, like fits well with Omori since the real world segments are set in faraway town and like generally Persona 4 just sort of vibes the best with like Omori's setting and all that. Second reason is because of the way the game approaches like the shadow self. Like as I meant alluded to earlier, like basically the final boss of the Sunny Route just a is basically a Persona 4 style shadow fight where Sunny has to confront his
Hmm.
like other self, like and everything he's been suppressing and like overcome it to like basically to like move on and like overcome his fears and
Hmm.
tell the truth. And the third reason is like the relationship with others. Like both are characters that heavily value like their friends, and they're both JRPG protagonists, which is pretty common in the genre. But and while friendship is a big theme across all of Persona, like Persona 4 and you especially feel like they're the ones that like that's the biggest sort of I get my power from my friends and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
and And like one of Yu's most common traits in his various adaptations is that he feels a constant need to be connected to people, and like he views himself as a very weak person who like gets his strength from his friends and like values them above all else, which is like very similar to like
Hmm.
Sunny like he loves his friends more than anything, and like it was him like remembering and cherishing his memories with him that allowed him to beat Omori at the end of the game. And there's actually another connection with you that goes even deeper with that. Like so basically, like in the final episode of the Persona 5 anime, Persona 4 anime, sorry. Basically, you finds himself in a time loop where his final day in Inaba, like it just keeps looping, and like he's like stuck in this Groundhog Day loop, and he eventually finds out that he's in an illusionary world created by Izanami, the true main antagonist of the game. And when he finds this out,
Hmm.
he confronts his own shadow, where basically he reveals that he didn't actually care if it was an illusion. He wanted to stay. He wanted to like stay in this illusionary world just so that he never had to say goodbye to his friends. Like he could just stay with them forever, even though if he knew it wasn't real. Like he snaps out of it, but like that kind of sounds very similar to like the
Hmm.
whole plot of Omori and the purpose of Headspace.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm. Yeah. The. Yeah. The parallels were immediately apparent.
Yeah, and and this like sets up the core theme of the match, which focuses on how they're great foils to each other. Like basically,
Hmm.
uh, basically, hold on. Uh,
Hmm.
okay. Ah. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna do that. Uh. So yeah, basically, the core theme of this fight is that the core theme of Persona 4 is truth. Like you're trying to solve a murder case. Like you're trying like the whole point of the fog is like it's obscuring the truth, and like you're basically like the big thing is like you're trying to seek the truth no matter what. And like you is always like trying to fight to find the truth and basically
Hmm.
figure out and like clear the fog that's like obscuring people. And basically Omori is all about like running away from the truth, trying to suppress it, and just like living in like willful ignorance, where like basically like you can just looping in the same like day every idealized like you're living in the same idealized dream every day. Like you don't have to like face the fact that as to what you did, and you're trying to like forget your friends and the process, your real friends. So basically, the core theme of the fight is basically truth versus ignorance. Basically, like since Amori's whole plan was basically like Izanami's plan on a smaller scale.
Hmm. Interesting. I can see it's not just a fight, it's also a philosophical conversation.
Exactly. So
Hmm.
so now let's talk about like the ease of research. Like what material does you have to go through? This is the Megami Tensei wiki has a full list of like everything like used directly appeared in. Like the main things are Persona 4 and its remakes. There's also the Arena duology, which is canon, and there's also the Persona Q duology, which I believe is also canon. Like and plus all their manga and anime adaptations, which is a is a bit much, but just looking at this list alone, it doesn't seem too bad, especially when most of these are just like old
Hmm.
apps with like no story that probably don't add anything. Where things get
Hmm.
complicated though is when you try to discuss what you scales to. Like right off the bat, like he's encountered like the protagonists, the main teams of like 3 and 5 enough to the point where he can reasonably scale to like the cast of Persona 3 and Persona 5. And like contrary to what many people believe for years, like the first two Persona games actually are in the same general continuity and weren't retconned at the end of Persona 2 Innocent Sinful, and like the Persona 3 team has been stated to like be on par with the Persona 2 team. So like the first two Persona games you'll is also something you have to look at to scale you. And so like that becomes not just looking at Persona
Hmm.
4, but looking at the entire Persona series, which is already going to be a bit of a big ask. But that gets even more complicated when like you discuss the question of whether or not to scale it to its parent series, Shin Megami Tensei, which has been like a big
Hmm.
recurring
Oh yeah.
debate within the versus community for like years now, like whether or not like you should use
Oh
Shin.
yeah.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
even if you
Yeah. I mean, I got a guy on my squad who's a very big Shin Megami Tensei buff. He kind of resents a little that Persona got kind of overshadowed Shin Megami Tensei. So I think I can rely on his expertise for this.
yeah, and even if you decide not to like scale like Persona to Shin Megami Tensei, there are still some other like Megaten spin-offs that have been directly shown to be directly connected to Persona, like namely Shin Megami Tensei If, which the protagonist of that actually appeared in Personas both 1 and 2 and like referenced the events of the game. And there's also like
Mm-hmm.
the Devil Summoner series, which the detective agency from Devil Summoner actually directly appeared in the Persona 2 duology, and like the protagonist of Shin Megami Tensei If was actually like working there. And the Soul Hacker series is also
Mm-hmm.
concluded because the Soul Hackers is part of like Devil Summoner and canon to it. And there's also Catherine, which because like in Catherine Full Body there was a DLC where you could play as Joker from Persona 5, and like you get and like you can get a cutscene where like Trisha from that game actually shows up and talks with the Phantom Thieves and decides not to stay there for too long lest she get entangled with Joker's passive fate manip. And so yeah, like, you basically not only have to like look at like all of Persona, but like all of like these spin-offs like at least and their like manga and anime adaptations, which probably sounds intimidating like at first glance, but like
Mm-hmm.
fortunately Persona and SMT has been like a very big like topic of power scaling like within the community for years, and people like have already like done the work of like scaling it. Like enter like
Yeah, it's extensive, but it's well documented, and there's a clear list of things that I will need to look at.
exactly. Like I'd also recommend looking into like the G1 Death Battle fan blogs. like prediction on Joker versus Giorno. If you don't know them,
Oh,
they're
I
like
love. I read G1. It's yeah, I know I'm not like I don't often talk about that sort of thing, but I lurk.
uh,
I absolutely lurk.
same here, brother, same here. But yeah, like, and the Joker versus Jonah blog in particular will be very good because like they did like their own like examination of the
Hmm.
Persona cosmology without Shin Megami Tensei, only like the spin-offs that are shown to be directly connected to Persona, and like they gave a lot of good feats and scaling for Joker, and anything Joker can scale to, you can also reasonably scale to, and like the they have
Hmm.
like this entire like good breakdown, and they even have like a sources cited section where they like list off all a bunch of more guidebooks and more obscure stuff that you won't be able to easily find. So like if you wanted to, you could like reach out to either Mal or Speedy on the Death Battle Discord, like they're like some of the core members of G1, and just ask them, I was wondering if I could cite this, I'll credit you, or you could just like
Yeah.
basically like use this as another list of media, like you can just read yourself. But yeah,
Hmm.
uh, so as for Omori, he's like far easier in terms of like the amount of material he has to go to. Like there's obviously his original game. Like there's also the official walkthrough and art book, which you can probably find a PDF on online. There are also like two interviews like with Omocat that I screenshotted here. And there's also the manga adaptation, which is ongoing like at the time of this like presentation, but like should still be over soon and won't be that long, and is written by Omocat herself. So and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all Omori has to look at. Uh,
Hmm. That, I mean, that was a little more than I was expecting. I thought it was just I only had the game to look at. Huh.
uh, yeah, but like yes,
Not I mean not much more, but I was expecting it was just more than I was expecting. Like, oh, there's more than just the game. Huh, neat.
yeah. So now let's talk about how debatable it is. Now, I'm always one of those games like that leaves a lot like kind of vague and open to interpretation, but general we have a pretty good idea of
Hmm.
how the highest like Omori can scale. Like AP and durability, he should be in the low multiversal range because like he can warp headspace and reset it like seemingly at a whim, and he also fought Sunny at the end of the game, who like created the entire headspace cosmology. As for like the size of headspace, like we actually like know it's universe size because of a character named Captain Spaceboy, who's like a space pirate who's like the most feared across the universe, and like his existence like kind of implies that there's other planets with advanced civilizations, and like so like and it's like referred to as a universe multiple times. So like that's likely that headspace is meant to be like a literal universe and universe sized. And like there's also a character called like Daddy Longlegs in the game, like who goes into some lore of how Headspace was formed, and like he mentions that like Sunny created like a door like to multiple worlds, like which kind of imply that Headspace like isn't like the only like world within Sunny's mind. So basically. So basically, like Omori can range anywhere from 3 times universal, like there's white space, headspace, and black space, to like 42 times universal, depending on if you think the doors you go through in black space lead to their own like separate space times. So either way, like he should be solidly within the low multiversal range thanks to his reality warping. And speed wise,
Yeah,
he
it's just the word worlds. It just makes this just makes power scaling these kinds of games just so irritatingly vague.
eh, yeah, but
Undertale has the exact same problem.
oh yeah, like I've been down the block with that like since
Yeah,
2016.
fantastic. Yeah, fantastic games. But when you try to fit them into a box, it just becomes yeah.
Yeah, but but like thankfully I'm always like a bit more clear since they directly use the term universe. So and his speed is
Mhm.
actually should be in the massively faster than light plus range, like millions to billions of times faster than light. This is like due to one part of the game where Omori and his friends like run across a bridge that spans like the entire solar system that the aforementioned Captain Spaceboy actually
Mhm.
captured, and like he can actually travel between galaxies and like because he's a space pirate, so that should place him in like the billions of times like fast and light range. And now some people have debated like the actual size of the planets in Omori because like the Earth is an actual is an actual like boss fight, like optional boss fight you can fight. Like it's literally just the planet
Mm-hmm.
Earth. It's like some people think like the Earth is like smaller than the actual Earth, but like in the Fofax journal, like it literally says its surface is mostly covered in water and people. Like this implies that it actually is supposed to be like an actual life-sized Earth, and therefore like the solar system itself is
Yeah,
actually
that
like.
is what. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Yeah, that is a thing in power scaling. It just I still remember when people went gaga over the moon, over Robbie Rotten being launched to the moon.
Oh, I
It
remember
just
that.
like
I remember that.
guys, yeah, it's just like yeah, it's a pretty decent feat, but you guys know that's not like the actual moon, right? This is kind of a cartoon world.
Like, yeah, like yeah. So like
Yeah, I mean it's fun. I mean it's fun to do the math, but still, let's temper our expectations here.
but yeah, but regardless, like Mass Light Fast and Light Plus should be like the highest like you can like reasonably get like Omori. And as for you, like his stats can range from anywhere from low multiversal to 7D. Like this comes from the arena games where he defeats like the main like antagonist of that game, who is going to destroy like the entirety of the Sea of Souls slash Collective Unconscious, which we
Yeah.
know is at least like another universe separate from the main world. And like he can also scale to like the other like Persona protags, like the cast of Persona 3 defeated Nyx, who I believe created like the entire Sea of Souls. Like the cast of Persona 2 also like created a new universe where the world didn't get destroyed at the end of Innocent Sin, and like the cast of Persona 5 like defeated Yaldabaoth, who like merged the Sea of Souls like with like the real world. So pretty solid. Like that should get them like 1 to 2 times universal like at least. But as to where 7D scaling come from, well, like the G1 blogs like went more in depth, but like the basic version of it is like it's implied that Persona has an infinite multiverse. Like then there's the Velvet Room, which is like not bound by
Above that.
time and exists outside it, so like 5D. Then there's the Sea of Souls, which has like two parts of it that like the Velvet Room can't easily access. Like I think it's called Conad
Mm-hmm.
Miranda, which is like beyond the Velvet Room's reach, so 60. And then there's like Monad Miranda, which is like a point that's beyond even Conad Miranda's reach, so like that would get to 70. So like any like beats that threatened like the entirety of like the Sea of Souls, like the antagonist of Persona 4 Arena, like that would like bump up the entire like Persona cast, like scaling to like 7D power. So like yeah, and his speed should be massively faster than like plus to immeasurable. This primarily comes from scaling to like the Persona 5 cast, who can like dodge Lucifer's like Morningstar attack, which has been calculated to be millions of times faster than light, and they can also avoid like the Big Bang like order attack in like the Okamura boss fight, which is like literally a Big Bang, which is calculated to quintillions of times faster than light. He can also get to immeasurable because like Nyarlathotep, like the main antagonist of Persona 2, was able to like drag like the 7D like part of like the Sea of Souls like across it, like that should like require a measurable speed, since like he's doing something to a world that's beyond time and space and not bound by it. And like so and like plus like
Mm-hmm.
with mentions of like the universes in Persona potentially being infinite, like any like that means like any like Big Bang like attacks would also have to be like infinite too. So like basically like use
Mm-hmm.
that's like general range for like use speed. So like
Yeah.
so like it's a bit open to interpretation, but like in general, with like similar amounts of generosity, you generally comes out taking stats, like in most cases. But like the biggest issue for is the biggest annoyance for you is probably going to be Omori's immortality, like because like at the end of the game, like Omori just like couldn't
Mm-hmm.
be like killed, because like it stayed several places in the game where like his existence is actually
Mm-hmm.
tied to the existence of headspace and possibly black space, like just making him effectively immortal. And like Sunny like couldn't like get rid of him with just his like physical attacks. Like he only got rid of him once he finally like accepted the truth, and that sort of like bypassed it. So like basically like
Uh-huh.
so basically it's like conceptual dependent immortality, like basically,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
just the I forget who coined this term, but yeah, I forget who coined the term, but he said like he called this sort of thing says nuh to existence erasure.
yeah, like basically. So yeah, like that's gonna be that'd be annoying for like in for like most of like Omori's like opponents, and like, but here's the thing, like you might actually have a counter to that, like since the true final boss of Persona 4, like you're fighting Izanami, sorry, like who, as I said, was trying to like cover the world in fog, like and like create a world where everyone was in blissful ignorance and eventually turned into shadows, like basically headspace on a worldwide scale. And like in the final boss, like it did the exact same thing, like where you kept attacking like Izanami, but like even though her health was zero, she just wouldn't die. And like eventually, like you had your persona moment where basically like you is seemingly like killed by Izanami's thousand curses attack, and then he remembers his friends. He awakens his ultimate persona, Izanagi no Okami, I think, and like he casts myriad truths, like which bypass like Izanami's like immortality and is stated to quote banish all curses and falsehoods. Like so, basically, the question becomes: can like myriad truths
Hmm.
bypass Omori's like immortality? So
You
that's
really put a lot of thought into this. I'm impressed.
thank you. Um, So next, let's talk about how hard this will be to animate.
Yeah.
Like I envision it like being a sprite animation, and like you has official sprites thanks to Yuri and all Max games. But like Amori's official sprites are like RPG overworld sprites. So like if you want to do sprite animation, you might have to make your own, or like call the guy who called Maple Riot who made the Omori versus Room and Omori versus Batter fan made trailers. Like and like 3D might be easier since I have like seen some like 3D models for like uh for like Omori and his friends, and like it would be easier for you since he was originally from a 3D game, and like you wouldn't have to make sprites for his other personas, like outside of his main
Mm-hmm.
one. But like, so it would be a bit hard to animate, but the actual potential would be really like would be really great like if you did, because like the thing is like um Omori has the ability to warp like the reality of headspace, and like so everything within headspace is technically a creation of like Sunny slash his, like that he can like manipulate. So like I was thinking like you could not only like have Omori's other party members help him in the fight against you, like just how you has his personas to help him, but like you could maybe make it an army battle, not an army battle, but like a sort of like thing where like a more, or he's just like constantly changing the environment and like warping and like kind of warping headspace and just putting you like against like pretty much like every enemy like he can throw at him, and like use just like carving through like this army while he's fighting Omori, like basically like and like there's a lot of ways you could like have the powers interact. Like you could like throw you up against like the literal earth and then have him use King Frost to like freeze it, because like King Frost's persona like compendium entry state, it has the power to freeze the world. Like you could also set up have like in a fight between like Omori and like Omori and his friends versus you, like you could set up something called a Kel nuke, which was basically like a exploit in Omori where like you could do like over 1,000 damage to like the enemy, and you counters it by like either throwing up a Tetracon which protects from physical, or just switching to a persona that nulls physical or even repels it. Like like Omori also like
Mm-hmm.
uses these red hands which like are stated to like erase people from existence in the final boss. Like you could have like a thing where he just like summons a bunch of red hands into a giant like fists of multiple hands to like just like try to punch you, and like you have to block it or something. Like basically like
I mean, what's kind of going through my head now is just like it would be fun to like honestly, this feels like that this battle might be fun to kind of mix both 2D and 3D.
that would be amazing. Like actually like, and it would
Yeah.
help not having to make as many sprites for like say like
Yeah.
use other personas that don't have official sprites. Like
Mm-hmm.
so like yeah. But now, like, let's talk to like easily this matchup strongest suit, like its story potential, because like as I mentioned, allude to at the beginning, like due to the nature of like Persona, and like how
Hmm.
Headspace could realistically spawn in like the Sea of Souls, like it has a story
Yeah.
set up that basically writes itself. Like basically, you start with the investigation
Oh
team.
yeah, it really does.
Yeah, you start with
It
the
really
investigation team.
does. It
Just
really
basically,
does write itself.
yeah, like basically start with the investigation team, like investigating Headspace since it spawned in the Midnight Channel, and like it's just this like massive place,
Hmm.
like they've never seen before. Eventually, like you can have you come to like a white door that leads to white space. He goes into it, but before his friends can follow him, like the door just like slams, and like maybe like you could also like have them be ejected like into it out of a TV, like into Sonny's hospital room that he's in a coma in at the end of the game. Like so, like the investigation team can like watch the fight on the TV, like and cheer him on at points. And basically, once he's in white space, like you could see like Sonny's like losing against Omori, and like Omori's like about to finish him off, but like then you steps in to like defend him, and like that's when the fight begins. And like then you have the fight escalate. First, like you fight Omori on his
Hmm.
own, then fight you fight
Hmm.
Omori and his friends, and like then like Yu's just like warping around, getting warped around headspace by Omori, and like just having to fight like just like everything like Omori like in headspace basically, and like just constantly switching his personas and like doing everything he can. And then like it just gets escalates and gets crazier and crazier until eventually like Mari actually gets crossed and caught in the crossfire and like seemingly killed like in the during the fight, and like this kind of causes like Omori to lose it, and then like they spawn in
Yeah.
black space. And then at
Mm.
that point, like it's that point that you finds out the truth about like Sunny, like what he did to Mari, like how he like how he how he and Basil like hunger and like framed it as suicide. Like you could like have it like maybe he like sees like the black space photo album and like reads through it, and like it's at that point that Omori like talks for the first time in the battle, like where he calls like Sunny a murderer, and like how his friends will never
Hmm.
forgive him, and like how you is basically a sicko for like trying to defend a murderer, and like uh
Mm.
and like after like hearing
Yeah.
about Sunny and like how like he and like how devastated he was, and like how afraid he is that his friends will hate him, like that just drives you to like really like want to save Sunny from Omori, and basically drives him to like fight Omori harder.
Mhm.
And like
Mm.
the ending like basically combines like the endings of both games, like you is like slashing down at Omori, but Omori keeps not succumbing and like keeps getting more warped like he did in the final boss. And at some point, like he stabs you in the heart, and like you goes down like in Omori, and like and then you has like his whole persona moment where like basically like his friends like in the real world are like cheering him on, saying don't give up, and like
Yeah.
he gets back up, like he summons like his trump card
Hmm.
Izanagi no like Izanagi no Okami, like, and then Omori tries to put him down again, but like this time it's saying like
Hmm.
you endured the attack, like, and like so basically like now Omori's the one who can't put you down. And then like
Yeah. The research and power scaling might be a little complicated, but the story just writes itself, I swear.
yeah, exactly. Like, and then like obviously like if you wins, then he casts Myriad Truths, and like it works, and like now like he's in like a maybe sort of meadow that like shows like various of Sunny's memories, and then at the end of it is a tree with Mari's hanging body with Sunny just looking up at it. Then he like looks at Amori like who's like panting and like exhausted before he finally disappears, and then like a door appears in front of Sunny, like Sunny exits, and then like a TV appears behind you, and you exits. You could also do an epilogue where like you exits like the TV and like finds his friends in the hospital room, and like as they're congratulating him, like Sunny wakes up, and then you and the investigation team like talk to Sunny, and like they say,
Mm.
hey, we saw what happened, and like and like what you did to Mari and stuff, and like and like Sunny confides in them, saying like how he's terrified of like losing his friends, and like how he
Oh.
and like how he
Yeah, just utter cathartic ending there.
yeah
Very heartfelt. I can absolutely see it.
yeah like And that's when you starts the Sunny social link. Yeah. Or if
Yeah.
like
Oh, that's good. That's
yeah.
good.
Or if you decide Omori wins, like you could have like you cast Myriad Truths, they still in black space, and it's at that moment like Omori just like stabs you, realizing that it didn't work, and they just like sort of like keeps brutally stabbing him and like making it like a really bloody ending. Like and then like after like Omori's done, like we see like you start to be corrupted by like black space and then just reduced to a something variant, and then like we cut back to like the investigation team who just saw you just got murdered by Omori. And then we see they have these really dark, like blank looks on their face. They all slowly turn to Sunny,
Hmm.
who we then see wake up and cut to black.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, like So that's basically my presentation. Like I've gotten into the Persona series recently after the death battle between Joker and Girono. Like I played Persona 5 Royal on my Switch.
Mm.
I'm gonna play Persona 3 Reload once I eventually get a Switch 2, and I do plan on playing Persona 4 Revival like once that eventually comes out. And like Omori, like I played it a few months back, and it's might have become like my favorite game like of all time. Like now, like I knew what the
I
story
noticed.
yeah, I knew what the story was like going in, like and like it still like hit me hard. Like it's been months,
Uh,
but like I still have shower arguments as
I
to why
can.
Sonny's friends absolutely do forgive him, like after the good ending.
Oh yeah, I can absolutely hear the passion here.
Uh yeah. So yeah, and again, thank you for like taking the time to listen. Any questions?
Oh, no, this was very yeah, it's you pretty much answered all my questions. You literally went through all of the categories, so I don't really have to ask any questions. So yeah, that was very well done presentation.
Thank you very much. Uh,
All right. Okay, well, I think we're done here for today. Once again, thank you so much for supporting Triple F. It really does mean a lot, and this was fun.
uh,
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for listening.
All right. Well, I gotta go. But thank you. I'll see you around.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye bye.